Hello everybody and welcome back to Lonely Rider's channel. I am your host, of course, Lonely Rider, and this is my 2003 Kawasaki Z1000. I bought this bike about 5 years ago and I've done a lot of commonly done modifications to this bike that you'll find information on the internet, so I just figured it'd be a good idea to make a series of YouTube videos about the different mods that I've done to this bike. Unfortunately, the modifications I did before I had a YouTube channel, so I didn't record any of them. I took some pictures that I might share as well, but basically I'm just going to have to kind of show you what I can show you and just kind of talk you through the process of how I did it, because obviously I can't go back and film it. But today we're going to start off with a really easy one. I am going to show you today how to bypass the secondary butterflies in the throttle body of this bike. But before we get into that, a quick message. Lonely Rider is not a professional mechanic and is not responsible for any personal injury or vehicle damage that may result from individuals attempting the repair shown in this video. You have been warned. Try at your own risk. The earlier fuel injection motorcycles had two sets of butterflies in the throttle body, a primary and a secondary. The primary was controlled by the rider with a cable via the throttle tube. The secondary butterfly is controlled by a servo motor, which is mounted right there. Now, these earlier fuel injection bikes had two throttle bodies, one controlled by the rider and one by the computer, to kind of help smooth out the throttle so it wasn't so jerky and whatnot. The secondaries were also used to kind of restrict the throttle response of the engine a little bit and somewhat hinders performance, which is why performance shops, when they would get these bikes and they would tune them for drag racing or whatnot, one of the first things they would do is remove or bypass the secondary butterflies because they just got in the way. The nice thing about this bike is you don't really have to get in there to physically remove the butterflies to basically bypass them, and on this bike it's actually pretty easy just to essentially lock the secondaries in the fully open position, effectively neutralizing them, and just run the bike off of the primaries only. I will warn you though, before we do this modification, that if you do that, it's probably going to make your motor run a little lean, especially in the bottom end of the rev range. So I don't recommend doing this unless you have a power commander or some other kind of fuel controller that you can use to tune your fuel map to compensate for that. You've been warned. All right, without further ado, let's get into it. You have two sensors on your throttle body, two AFT sensors here. You have a gray one and you have a black one, or a front and a rear. You do not touch the gray one. The only one we're going to mess with is the black one. So how this works basically is the computer controls the secondary butterfly, which is controlled by the servo motor, based on the readings it's getting from these sensors. Now, there is a way you can trick the computer into opening the secondaries all the way, in which case then you can shut the bike off and unplug the servo motor and they will stay in the open position. I'm going to show you how to do that. Step one, with the bike off, unhook the black sensor. With the rear sensor unhooked, turn the key on. We are going to actually unhook the servo motor. On the bottom of the servo motor, you're going to see a clip right there. You have to unhook that clip, and it's a little hard to get to, but you got to press that plastic clip down right there and pull it off. Reach in there and push the clip down with your thumb and yank it off. It's tight, but you might need a pair of pliers or a screwdriver to help you get it off. So with that now unhooked, just turn it back off. By turning the motorcycle on with that unhooked, it has opened the secondaries all the way, and when we turn the key off, they stayed open all the way. Plug this sensor back in. Go ahead and power your bike back on. Now, go ahead and start the bike. Now, at this point, you might be wondering, well, okay, but how do I know that the secondaries are actually all the way open? Because if they weren't, you wouldn't be able to do that. And that's all there is to it. It literally is that simple. Now, if you did it correctly, you also will not get the FI light on your dash. You're going to want to put some black electrical tape or something over top of that to keep dust and dirt and debris from getting down in there, and then just tuck it down inside the bike. So like I said, this is an extremely easy mod to do on this bike. As you saw, it literally takes a couple of minutes. You don't even need any tools to do it. I've been riding my bike like this now for about 4 years off of just the primaries, and I gotta say, I actually like it like that much better. It's much snappier, it's a lot more aggressive. But again, I have a power commander, so I was able to build my own fuel map to keep any lean spots out of the map. If you're going to run off of just the primary butterflies, you're also going to need to enable, if you have a power commander, what's called the accelerator pump, which gives you the ability to give you that extra burst of fuel when you first rip it wide open, because otherwise you might have a lean dip real quick if you rip it open too hard without that. But like I said, I've been running it like that soon after I got it, because that's one of the first mods I did to the bike, along with putting the exhaust on, and I gotta say, I really like it. It definitely makes it ride a lot more aggressive. It's a lot quicker, it's a lot snappier. I wouldn't recommend it obviously for a new rider, but if for an experienced rider, it definitely brings the beast out with it. One more thing I should also add, if you ever want to put the bike back to the way it was, re-enable the secondary butterflies, all you have to do is turn the bike off, plug the servo motor back in, and turn the bike back on. You don't have to touch any of the sensors at all. Just leave them hooked up, plug the servo back in, and turn the bike back on, and it should go right back to stock like nothing happened. Well, that's it for this episode. It's just a short one this time. I'm going to be making some more videos down the road on some of the other mods I've done to this bike. As you can see, I've got the ZX9R flywheel mod. I'll talk more about that some other time, as well as some more repairs to do on my Porsche 986 Boxster as well. Catch you later.